Previously on Jotunnslayer. I already know I just beat this. Oh my gosh, just one more. Boom! Let's fucking go! Holy shit! That took me forever to fucking beat this. Hell yeah! One more to go. One more map to go! Alright, there is only one last map to conquer. That map is Helheim. And we are gonna beat this map on the newest and hardest difficulty, Nightmare 10. On this map, enemy difficulty is up to 490%. Let us step into the flames and finally beat this game. Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hel. Helheim and Nightmare 10 felt impossible to beat. For the longest time, I spent days and nights trying to beat this. It didn't matter what characters I used, what weapons I used, what gods, what abilities, what passives. Nothing felt like it was working. And I was starting to believe that I was not going to be able to actually beat this. Everything that I've learned in Jotunnslayer was thrown in the trash. Nothing was working. And I just kept dying. Over and over and over again. Even though all hope was lost, all it took was one day, a single spark that ignited a flame. That flame turned into an idea. Alright, the idea is I needed someone that, one, could do enough damage, two, can self-sustain, and three, have a chance to avoid damage. Out of all of the attempts that I had, Flame Sister was the only one that actually came in close. And that's why I was dedicated to just keep playing Flame Sister at the very end. She was the only one that can only do a lot of damage, has a nice chance to slay enemies, and she can avoid damage, and she can sustain herself when needed. So, I sat there quite some time looking for a perfect build for Flame Sister, and I finally came to a conclusion that and it was just in front of me this whole time, I just needed to burn all the enemies. Just consistently burn them all. So that is what the build is. And in the very beginning, here is the passives that you want to look for. And you really want to try to find these. If you don't find them in the very beginning, do not worry. It's just nice to have in the beginning. But if you can't find them, do not waste your rerolls. Because if you waste all your rerolls, and trust me, I've did so many of these different runs off screen, and this took me days, just day and night waking up, and I just lost. But I promise you, do not waste your rerolls to try to find these passives in the beginning. If you do have them in the beginning, take full advantage of them. So let me just explain. So, you're probably wondering of why I chose certain gods and why I chose these abilities that only really apply burns. And with this passives in the very beginning, they amplify most of the burns, and every time you apply a burn, you can reduce cooldown and later on, you're going to be hit with level 15. And that one, this passive shown on screen, that one is going to, every time you burn someone, you're going to heal up. So, Flame Sister in her class traits, she actually has a certain class trait that she has a secondary attack that will actually help lifesteal. Now, in the very beginning, do not just look for passives. You want to at least try to max out your god abilities and your class abilities. So you want to fill up all of your slots on the left as fast as you can, because not if you don't have one filled up, you're gonna really hurt yourself. The gods of choice is Odin, Freya, and Loki. And surprisingly enough, I didn't know that Loki actually had a ability that does 100% burn. And that is crazy good. So pick that up as soon as you can. And as you can see on Freya, Freya also, like Freya's sword, also applies a burn. But you probably noticed that I actually didn't pick up the local Ragnarok this time and actually went for the spear. And I'll just explain this. So the local Ragnarok really is really good. It's really good, and you should probably pick it up as much as you can. But I actually chose the spear this time because of the lower cooldowns, and it applies a bleed. And bleeds are really good against elites. Also, in the beginning, you want to try to hit level 12. This is why I'm sticking around right here. It's because these enemies are easier to kill compared later on. So I'm just basically preparing myself, and this is just a little tip. That's why I'm sticking around, even though I could go to the next level. This will really help you a lot. And sometimes, if you don't hit level 11 or 12 here, and let's say like you just fall short, and it's 16 minutes in the game, well, 16 minutes left, or even less, like 15 to 14, just restart. Because you're not going to have enough time to actually go to the other levels. So you had to keep an eye on the timer. 15 around here is perfect. Like 16 to 15, that's perfect. And if you reach level 11 to 12 right around here, that's also really good. So you don't want to waste so much time in the very beginning. Also, you're probably wondering what weapon I'm using, because of every time I utilize it, I actually apply burns. And every time I activate it, I'm actually immune to all damage. So a little bit of an invincibility. And I'll show the sword on screen right now. This is the weapon that I loved. So it's really good, and you should probably use it as well if you're trying to beat Helheim with Flame Sister. Alright, so going back to the gods. Each god that I chose also have something in common. And I'm probably wondering if anyone else picked this up, but if you have, just let me know in the comments. Alright, so the three gods actually have all of double casts. So all three of these gods actually have double cast. And as you can see probably in the beginning, that I picked up Loki's double cast. You only have to put 1 point in that, and you're good. So if you find it in the beginning, pick it up. The one that you probably want to level up last is Freya's, is just because you have to level up 3 times. So in the very beginning, you want to try to max out at least one of your class abilities and your god abilities. It really doesn't really matter, but the one that I chose is Loki, and Loki's the god ability that he applies 100% burns. I really enjoy it because it works well with the passives that you have, right? So those passives that you picked up, that it says every time you apply burn, reduce cooldown, and every time you apply burn, you can heal off of it. And that also works with Loki's god ability. And this also works with Freya's sword, because Freya's sword also has a burn chance, even though it's really low, but it's still there. So you're probably also wondering why I chose the bomb this time. The bomb is actually really good, not just because it applies poison, and poison, all it does is just tick damage, kind of like the burn, right? Burn is just another tick damage. But the reason why I chose the bomb is because, as you can see on screen, most of the enemies will always just be up close to you. And no matter what you do, they're just going to be up close to you. You can kill all the enemies in front of you, but they're just going to consistently come all around you. So the bomb makes it useful because it has a small timer. And the timer, when it ticks, it's going to blow up anyone that's in front of you, or basically around you. So that's why it's really important. Also, there's a passive that works well with both the bomb and the burn. So you want to check out this passive right here. And you can probably get it in the beginning, but if you can't, because this game is RNG, just keep on trying to level up your class abilities as fast as you can and your god abilities until eventually you can get those passives. Because the last thing you want to do is waste all your rerolls in the very beginning, because it's going to hurt you at the end. So keep them as much as you can. Another thing that you probably noticed is, like, I don't really use my banishing, and that's just because I don't want to banish something and then not end up having it later. The things that you probably could banish is probably like attack speed and the long knife passive. So the Odin has attack speed passives that you can apply, but you don't really need attack speed with this build. You're trying, what this build is you're trying to apply as much burn as possible, and you can try to get that cooldown. See, as soon as I get that cooldown, as shown on screen right now, look how many times I can proc my fire rays. So as you can see in here, it's just consistently getting resetted. So that's why it's really important to grab, or try to grab, those in the very beginning. But in this video, I didn't have the chance to get that in the very beginning. But if you do get it, pick it up, because those are the main ones you really need for this build. And then another thing that you probably noticed is I picked up all of the Loki's health regen. If you pick all 3 of them up, that is enough for you, and you don't really need anything else. Plus, the weapon also gives you health regen, and on top of it, I also have that other passive, and which is only unlocked at level 15, that every time you apply a burn, you're consistently healing. So that's why you can see myself consistently healing, gaining that double cast cooldown, and resetting my cooldown on every time I burn. So that is why this build works. Once I sat there and really think about how am I going to do this, what is the most perfect build, this is it. This is the perfect build, and this is the one that I believe is the best one for Flame Sister. Now, maybe later on, maybe in the future videos, I'll try to revisit this and try to see if I can beat each character on Helheim Nightmare 10. So, that being said, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And if you keep continuing watching this, I'll explain more of why this is the perfect build. Because the way I see it is, this is basically a tier list, and this really showcases why. Just look at this. Do I even have to explain? Like, it's crazy, stupid, strong. it's just chaotic. It's crazy, dishing out all that damage, and I'm consistently getting that cooldown. So this is why I believe this is gonna be the best build. So I'm gonna also show the rest of the build on screen right now, and I'll explain why I pick up certain things. So you can apply more crit damage and apply bleeds. The more bleeds just really help kill those annoying ass elites. And again, not only that you're applying bleed, but you're applying poison and you're applying burns. All three of those will do tick damage. So damage over time, right? And you consistently just dishing out damage. Every time they get closer to you, every time they basically can't do anything. And on top of it, when they do get close to you, you have Flame Sister has evades. So she's going to basically have a chance to evade all of those incoming attacks. And that's why she's the only one that's really going to be working here, because of the next area that I'll show. Well, once I get into it. I know I'm leveling up a lot. But yeah, again, pick up the revive. I know you've probably seen the other videos. If you haven't, what are you doing here? Go check out my other videos, then come back. But anyways, pick up the self revive. It's gonna be key. Pick up the worthy opponent. I know I didn't pick it up there, but trust me, it makes a huge difference later down. Because every time you go further down, it just gets harder, right? You're going to see more different enemy types, and the ones that are going to throw fire, and the ones that are going to shoot arrows. Those arrows, you want to avoid as much as you can. They do so much damage. And even later on, there's going to be even harder archers. So, that being said, and Flame Sister is the only one that can really avoid those arrows, because she doesn't rely on blocks like Warden, and she has evades. So even if you did get hit by the arrow, you have a chance to evade it. So it's crazy good. Another thing that you should really just kind of focus on when leveling up is actually not just getting more crits. Yes, crits give you more bleeds, but you should actually look for the more double cast. So Loki and Freya have one, and also Odin. Odin has one. And what makes the Odin one special is that you can consistently heal every time you proc the double cast. Because I'm going to be honest, you're not going to consistently just level up. Every time you do level up, it's going to be harder and harder for you to level up. That's why it's really important to pick up certain things in the very beginning, and at the basically very early in the game and very mid game areas. So like right now, I'm just focusing on trying to max out all of my god abilities and my class abilities. Just try to see if I can max them out the most, because if you max out the Loki one, again, it's going to do tons of burns. And you want more burns. The more burns, the better. You want to also level up the Freya one, because the Freya one also has a chance to burn, even though it's not as like 100% like Loki, but it is there. So try to focus on those two, and then you want to do the Odin one last. Yes, the Odin one spear is really good, but it doesn't really apply the bleeds. So don't really focus that one just yet. You just want to focus on more burns. The more burns, the better. So again, if you don't know why I didn't pick the local Ragnarok and actually went with the spears, it's because the spears have a less cooldown, and the spears just apply bleeds. And the spears is the best one that Odin also has for the abilities. All of his other abilities, they're good. Don't get me wrong. I love Odin's kit. The thing is that most of his other abilities, they have a long cooldown. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense that you want to just use the spears more than the local Ragnarok, because the local Ragnarok, yes, it's really good. Like, it's the best ability in the game, and you can double cast it, and you can basically nuke the area. It's really strong, but the spears come up so much that you're basically dishing out more damage, and you're doing more bleed damage that will help clear the elites. So that's why I chose the spear more than the local Ragnarok. Also, you're probably wondering why I didn't pick up not Freya, Scotty this time. Scotty is good, and don't get me wrong, she is. And I love Scotty. But there was no point to picking her up, because Flame Sister, she already has all the sustain that she needs. Even if she does get hit, her flames and her burns is going to always heal her. And Loki, with that one passive to regenerate HP, that's all you really need, right? One thing that I should have picked up is increased health, the more I think about it. But yet again, every time I do pick up increased health, I feel like I waste the upgrade. Yes, increased health is good, but you should probably just try to focus and not to get hit in the first place in general. And this might sound really weird to you guys, because you're not in the game playing. But the thing that I actually look for is picking the enemies that I want to fight, and choosing the enemies that you want to fight. And what does that mean? Instead of walking towards that, those 3 hogs, right? I don't know what they're called. The boars, right? Instead of walking towards those guys, I'll walk towards the weaker enemies, because I know in the back of my head that I'm strong enough to even kill them. So I'll try to walk towards those guys more than the actual hogs, because if I walk towards the hogs or dash towards them, I have a chance of getting hit, because those hogs, they're just super tanky. And I died so many times with those annoying ass hogs that it's not even funny. It's just annoying. They just have way too much health, and it's crazy stupid how much health they have. But with that double cast, and every time you apply burn, and reduces your cooldown, you're gonna kill these guys really fast. And I don't think they're considered as elites, so that passive, the one that Odin has, I don't think it really counts them as elites. I think they're considered as actual minions, but I could be wrong. But that being said, these guys are just the pain of the ass. But all the other enemies, they're not super hard. If you made it this far in this game, you kind of have a better idea of what the enemies do, what each one will do, what to really avoid, and all that. It just comes in practice. Like, the more times you play this game, the more you're gonna start realizing, okay, I'm already expect what the dragon's gonna do. He's gonna walk forward and he's gonna leap on me, and I need to avoid those leaps. Another thing, like just a little tip, is keep the eye. Like, this really helps me. Don't look at the enemies. I know, like, just give them a little quick glance, but do not just focus your eyesight on the enemies, because it doesn't matter if you're looking at the enemies. What you really want to focus on is yourself, where you're positioning at, where are you standing, and kind of have a sense of where you are in the map. Because in these maps, well, in this one, I already know that these ones are really small, so I don't have a worry about, oh, they're going to come from this side or this side, because I know since each of these areas are pretty small, like this one's a triangle, so I can kind of have a awareness of where I am and where I'm standing. So, especially here, this is why I'm telling you this. You want to look at where you are. So keep an eye on you most of the time. And I'm not saying don't look like around you. You just want to do a quick glance. Don't like focus all your eyesight on the say like that boss or elite right here. If you do that, then you're gonna end up dying. This is gonna be the hardest part right here. It's just because of the amount of enemies that are shooting at you and all these basically like these projectiles that the map has, like right there, those big orbs, they can insta kill you if you're not careful enough. So the best thing you want to do is just keep an eye on where you are, because again, if I was focusing on that elite right there, I will actually end up walking into a fire, those blue fires, and insta die. So the one thing, especially with Flame Sister, yes, you can avoid a lot of attacks, but she is really squishy. She is, I think, I want to say one of the squishiest characters in this game. But yet again, she has a lot of those invades. But once you don't have those invades, the game won't tell you, like, hey, you're out of invades. There's no indication like that. You have dashes, and she has 2 dashes, but that's really it. Another thing is try to hold your second dash. So don't just waste your 2 dashes, right? Because if you waste 2 dashes, then it's going to just take longer to get, another dash up. So what I end up doing is just dashing once, and then if I really need to, then do the second dash. Another thing I noticed is that every time I did die, and I didn't notice during the time of when I was playing this, but every time I did die in this area, the timer still kept going. I don't know if that was supposed to be intentional or not, but I kind of used that as my favor. So, and as you can see, we finally made it to the boss. But as I was saying in the last area, I've died 2 times and the timer just kept going. So I kind of just, I guess you could say, exploited that. And I only noticed that after I was done recording. So, and yeah, that's why it's always important to pick up the, go to the skill shop, pick up the perma buff that Freya has and gives you a 1 revive. And of course, always pick up what Odin has. Odin also has a passive that grants you a additional revive. The one that I kind of don't recommend is trying to get the what's it called, Brocken Sentries. Brocken Sentries, you had to put too many points in it just to get the revive. But it is there if that is something that you're interested in. But for me personally, I don't like putting most of my level ups into Brocken Sentry because I want to put more stuff in damage, cooldown, everything else that kind of synergize with the build. Also, hopefully all these tips have helped you guys as well. And this isn't super hard. You just try to avoid each of the Jotunn's patterns. And you should be able to recognize each of these Jotuns. Like this one, he's the very first boss. And you should have a somewhat of a pattern. Like once you play this game quite some time, you kind of know what all of the boss patterns are at this point. And since I kind of basically memorized what he's going to do, I'm already like 2 steps ahead to know where I'm going to stand. So he's not too hard. She's a little different because I don't know what her abilities are. I know I killed her like I think 2 times, but that's it. All those other times, yeah, I haven't really memorized her abilities, but she's not super hard either. Just keep your distance and do not try to rush killing a boss. You're just going to end up dying. Stay away from them. Even if you're up close to them, they will actually end up insta-killing you because they just do a lot of that tick damage even if you're that close. That's why there's like a little circle under her feet, as you can see right there. Once you hit that circle, you're basically dead. So try to avoid trying to get as close as you can, and stay calm, and you're gonna eventually kill her. It's gonna take a lot slower, but that patience is the essence when it comes to like these boss fights. So this one, you just want to try to avoid that attack, because that will instant kill you. But these ones that shown on like the ground and spawn more enemies, those ones are not too bad. But try to avoid that sword strain, that one right there, because that will insta kill you. It does not matter. Like these, like at this level, Nightmare 10 on Helheim, and the enemy difficulty is almost up to 500. It doesn't matter how much health you have. It doesn't matter how much defense you have. If you get hit by that, you're dead. Even with the Warden, right? The tankiest character that you can play in this game. Even he will insta die from that. Even if you build like tons of health, you can still basically die from that. So yeah, be cautious. Always keep an eye on where you're standing, where you're at, and you will be able to kill them. And yes, it's going to take a longer time. As you can see, that took a while, but I'm slowly killing them, and that's the goal. I'm slowly winning. So there you go. And again, just try to get close to them. Don't worry about the hordes at this time. These hordes, they're really squishy. So the ones that the boss spawns, they're not that tanky compared to the other hordes. And I actually noticed that after rewatching this video, well, this recording, is that the ones that the boss spawns, they're not really tanky compared to the ones that you fought earlier. So that's why you can always like walk towards them. Okay, so those fireballs, you want to try to avoid those as fast and as much as you can. So, and they will track you down. So the best thing that you can try to do is just, again, keep an eye on where your character is, and do not panic, because like they will get really close to you. Those fireballs, they'll get really close to you, but most of the time, if you're just consistently moving and you're basically going in a circular pattern, you can actually avoid them. And if you do need it, Flame Sister has 2 dashes, so utilize that as best as you can, but do not waste them all at once, because there is going to be a time that if you waste them, both of them at once, and you don't have that dash cooldown, you're going to end up getting hit again. So that's why I usually just try to dash once, but if I really need to, then I'll dash twice. But yeah, those things, they will kill you. And keep an eye on where you are, and you will have that kind of like peripheral vision, I think that's what it's called, and you can kind of see where the other projectiles is going to hit you. So this is going to be the hardest part in this right here, and I don't have another revive, so this is where I kind of panicked. And I could have lost this, but I just stay cool, stay calm, keep calm. Everything's going to be okay, because eventually you will beat this. I will beat this game. You have to say that to yourself. You will beat this game. I will beat this game. And that's all it takes. Because now you can see I have did the impossible. I have beat this game, Helheim, on Nightmare 10. I have beat this entire game on Nightmare 10, the newest and hardest difficulty. I, Firebug, have succeeded. I have finally beat Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hell! I know I'm not saying much, but this took me so long to beat it. Days and nights, hours and hours at end. And this was the one. As you can see, this is the passives you want to look for. These are the ones that you want to utilize the most. And try to upgrade all of your god abilities. Always pick up the subclass. And the buffs and debuffs, that's always going to be random. But I did it. I have finally beat this game. If you stuck around in this entire journey, thank you. I know I don't really sound enthusiastic, but this was a huge relief. I just felt so relieved. Like a weight lifted from my shoulders. Because I have tried this in days. This is why I haven't uploaded in a couple of days. It's just because it took me forever to finally beat this game. And as you can see, every map... Oh, let me go back to that difficulty. But every map I have beaten Nightmare 10. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button, subscribe because you don't want to miss out the next video. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye bye. Oh, shit.